Ooh.
Oh, look at that.
Let's do it like this.
I'm liking this. Like,
oh shit! Let's do this on Halloween and tell ghost stories.
Ooh.
No, let's not.
Yeah, we're definitely doing it now. So, welcome to Invasion of the Podcasts. Gotta work on this intro. Okay. Welcome to Invasion of the Podcasters. If you're not familiar with us, in a nutshell, we're four friends that BS about, comics, games, movies, and at the end we debate a fight between two characters and
or more.
And so with me is Joseph, JP, and Gilbert. I myself am Matt. And today we're going to be doing our nostalgia episode. So we're just going to be talking about things that we grew up with from the 80s, early 90s. For some of us, maybe the 70s, because I know JP's relatively old, so...
I'm not that much older than you guys.
Well, no, you made a point to, talk about how, oh, I'm so much older than you guys.
I thought you guys were way younger.
You were, talking about, stuff from the 70s and stuff. Yeah, you were I remember when they invented, blankets and,
they invented blankets in the 70s?
Yeah, because they use not blankets.
I remember when Star Wars A New Hope was in theaters.
1997.
Oh, the remake? Yeah,
well, not the remake, but the remaster.
Yeah, it's dumb.
Yeah, I didn't like the... I don't know, there's just something...
I think it's stupid that the only way you can get the original version is, and if you want it, say, transferred to DVD, is if you have a Laserdisc, copy of it. And...
Yeah, you know what? Honestly, I saw the Blu-ray version of it. It does look really clean. It looks really crisp, but my problem with it is that, at the end of Return of the Jedi, when the Ewoks are all dancing and having a good time, and then you see
oh, the ghosts. Yeah. So, okay, I was talking about this at the gym, and how you have the original actor. Was it you that, Joseph, that told me the name, or was it someone else there that said the name of the original actor that played Darth Vader?
Someone else.
Oh, okay. So if you're a relative or someone who knew that person who was that actor who was at the end of Return of the Jedi, you were really proud of that. You're my uncle is this guy.
Yeah, you actually get to see his face,
right,
not the mask.
And then you hear oh, they're doing a remastered version of Star Wars, and so you bring all your friends together, you go to the movies, and you're oh, great, we get to see my uncle.
Yeah, top it off, you're gloating.
Yeah, and you're oh, my uncle is going to be so awesome at the end. And then Hayden Christensen is there, and he's just hi everybody, I'm stealing the show.
What I don't get is why wouldn't he have aged? Because he was still technically 15 to 20 years older. I'm not saying he wouldn't look as old as the original Anakin Skywalker, but he shouldn't look that young either. I mean,
or how come Obi-Wan wasn't the younger version?
Right.
Oh no, when the new Blu-ray ones, I think.
They put you in again?
I think they changed it to
really.
I think they kept it the same.
Okay, really, they did.
It was just Hayden Christensen that they had added.
Okay, that was it.
Yeah, but also too, it's okay, then why is it say Qui-Gon Jinn there? But it's also too, it's
well, Qui-Gon Jinn didn't know Luke, so why would he want to come and kick it with them?
He's too busy filming Taken.
Or The Grey.
He was too busy fighting wolves.
Yeah.
That was a good movie, though.
That was an awesome movie. I saw that on Netflix, and at the end, how he's got his hands covered in glass. Yeah. It was you do not want to mess with him.
And that poem he recites, and then you pretty much know what happens after. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. I was, I think, talking to you about it, how I thought that it was the same character from Taken, and that maybe it was just you know, like stories of this guy, how he's just like this ongoing badass, like, you know, Taken is just his like, you know, his like spy getting his daughter back adventure, and then like the Gray is like him fighting wolves, you know. And
then he's Hannibal in 18.
Right. Well, I mean, I think that would be kind of cool if it was just the same guy and he goes off on all these different adventures. Like, next movie is like, you know, him, you know, fighting on a submarine, you know, with ninjas or something.
Just like with a rubber band and a toothpick.
Yeah, and you know, or a jump rope. You know, he's fighting them with jump ropes, and you know,
Liam Neeson's he's a badass.
Yeah. Have you seen that one movie that he's in? He's like some kind of like Scottish like noble, or it's a little older. It's yeah, your guys' blank stare tells me no. But so okay. 80s, 90s cartoons growing up as a kid. What's everyone's like say your top 5, you know?
Let's start with you, Matt.
Me?
Yeah. Yes, you.
Oh, okay. I'll say like my first one, Thundercats. Like hands down, like my favorite one was Thundercats, because Thundercats, it wasn't just like, okay, you had like He-Man and, you know, G.I. Joe and stuff like that going on, but with Thundercats, it was the first intro to a kid's cartoon where it had like was it like guitar solos, and like everything was like a rock opera. It was like over the top, and like everyone had like crazy wild anime hair, and you like nothing was like mundane. If they needed to go get like, you know, say like their car that they left in the woods somewhere, it was like a big giant thing, and like there was always like music going on in the background and lights, and like, you know, just like do 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 do, and so like, but also too at the same time, like I'm looking back at those cartoons, they're like the only ones that I could still watch with, you know, like, and not be disgusted. And the only thing I have to like critique about is that the Thundercats have like the memory span of like someone with like Alzheimer's.
Oh, well, they're not elephants.
Well, yeah, obviously, but okay, so like whenever they fight Mumra, you know, Mumra, the ever living, you know, he's this mummy guy who he calls upon like dark powers, and he turns into a giant buff mummy guy, and they always find out by chance that the way to defeat Mumra is show him his reflection. By chance, like, you know, like the Sword of Omens will accidentally reflect on him, and then it's like, oh, well, good thing we found that out. And then like the next episode, the same thing will happen. Like, oh, good thing that happened.
You know, you would think they would write on like a Post-it note next to their catnip.
Yeah.
So like they won't ever forget that shit ever.
Yeah, it's like, honestly, I think the only one who has any kind of like long-term memory is Snarf.
Snarf. I like Snarf, man.
Yeah, Snarf was awesome.
The most annoying character ever.
Snarf.
He was like the first Pokemon.
Ah, he actually was.
He was weird too, because it was like, okay, so like the Thundercats themselves are these like hybrid kind of like sentient cat people, but Snarf is not quite that. He's like a pet that has opposable thumbs and could talk to you, but yet he still takes a dump in the litter box.
Maybe he's like the
it's
Down
like
syndrome of Thundercats.
I mean, yeah, maybe like but I mean, it's kind of like with like the Disney, you know, characters, how you have like Mickey, you know, Donald and Goofy. Goofy's a dog,
and then you got Pluto,
and it's like, wait a minute, what is Pluto just like retarded or something?
You want to know what's screwed up about that is like Goofy's the only Disney character that's actually been said that has like a PhD, a doctorate, and then yet he's the dumbest, and he doesn't get pissed off when he sees Pluto in the collar.
Oh yeah, and I saw this thing on Facebook where it has this really depressing picture of Goofy where he's just like super depressing looking, and then it says, that moment when you realize in was it Goof Troop that Goofy's wife had died, that he was a single like, you know, like dad, and that at some point in time his wife had passed away. And I'm like,
true.
Thinking about that, I'm like, that is depressing as hell to like think about like my, you know, my childhood. And
I love Goof Troop. I thought that stuff was awesome.
Great. Then you had like, what's his name in the Goofy movie?
Pete?
The Biodome guy. He played
Pauly Shore.
Pauly Shore.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was like the leading shower of cheese.
Yeah, no, but you know what was screwed up? I was watching because you know I got a young kid and he likes the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse.
Right.
Mickey Mouse is a cheap bastard, dude. You want to know what he pays them?
What?
In beans.
Sign me up.
That's kind of healthy.
And well, it's a multi-million-dollar industry, and he can't even pay his friends like a good portion of it. He just gives them 5 or 6 beans at a time.
That's funny. Well, what about you, Gilbert? What's one of your favorite shows from, you know, your childhood?
Well, of course, my number one is Batman animated series, but we don't need to talk about that much because everyone knows it was awesome. Anyone that was, you know, a kid.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I still have my kid watch that now.
No,
I mean, it's still awesome. It still holds.
It's
still,
Yeah, it's on the hub.
yeah. I mean, still today, I think that the top 2 like best animated comic book shows were
X-Men and
Batman and X-Men. Yeah.
Yeah, but one that I do remember, one of my top favorites was Tiny Toons.
Oh yeah.
I used to love watching that. And another one, Muppet Babies. I don't know if you guys remember that.
Yep.
And I used to laugh every single time at the end when it said Dick.
Is it pronounced Deke?
Yeah, it's pronounced Dick.
Yeah. Do you guys remember Fraggle Rock?
Yeah, I remember Fraggle Rock.
Yeah, I have the song on my my phone, and it's like in my like little iTunes like section where I've made like all my like feel good songs, and that like intro music is like total like, you know, pick me up. It's like laugh your cares away, worries for another day.
You know, I couldn't do that show when I was a kid. They creeped me out. I thought they were weird.
You know what it reminded me of? When you go to Chuck E. Cheese and you see the animatronics.
Yeah, the animatronics.
I didn't like that, so that's why I didn't like Fraggle Rock.
Yeah, that shit was scary.
I grew up on Muppets. I loved it.
Okay, I do have a question for you guys. In Tiny Toons, there was Buster Bunny, Babs, and then what was the duck's name? I can't remember.
Plucky Duck.
Was it Plucky?
Yes.
And then they had was it Matt? Was it
Maximilian?
Maximilian, Elvira.
Then what was Taz's like
Dizzy Devil.
Dizzy Devil. That's right.
And and then what was it like? There was a spin-off with Taz, his own show, Tasmania. Come to Tasmania.
Yeah, come to Tasmania. Yeah, I remember that.
We made you. And what was it like? That's where Pinky and the Brain first appeared. Was on Tiny Toons, wasn't it? As Elvira's.
No, that was
weren't they Elvira's pets at one point? Like there was an episode where
I thought that was a crossover or something. No, I thought that Animaniacs was their.
Oh, was the link?
I think they're the birthplace.
I think Gilbert's right.
Oh,
yeah, Animaniacs was the original with Dot. Was it Dot, Wacko, and
Wacko, and Dot?
Which is also on the hub.
Yeah, Animaniacs was freaking hilarious.
Oh yeah, Animaniacs was good.
All right, what about you, Joseph? What was your like top one?
My number one?
Well, one of your tops.
That's her name.
What was that?
Told you didn't know it. I say my top one. My top one's Ninja Turtles. And coming in a close second would be Ghostbusters, because I watch those cartoons like all the time.
Yeah,
the real Ghostbusters, not the Ghostbusters.
Yeah,
I remember when you let me borrow your DVD set.
I still have that. The Firehouse one?
Yeah.
I still have it.
I watched that thing like twice.
And, I remember one Christmas, our parents, my mom and dad got us the Firehouse, the actual Firehouse from the Ghostbusters, the cartoon.
I had mine up until a few years ago.
You know what? So did we. I don't know what happened to it. The last time we had it was when I was still in apartment 1, I think. Or something.
My dad sold mine.
Well, anyways, I kept bugging my mom about like opening Christmas presents, and she just got off work and she was really tired. And so
she didn't want to deal with you.
Yeah, she didn't want to deal with me. So she just said, yeah, but not even thinking about it.
Right.
So my dad's still at work, and it's like 2 or 3 days before Christmas. So yeah, I opened up all the gifts. I mean, I was just like 5 or 6 years old. I didn't know what each gift was for.
Did you have a beard then too?
Yeah, I always had a beard. I'm opening it up and I'm like, Barbie doll, like, why do we need one of these? You know, like, nah, that's cool. Well, I was totally stoked to opening up a box and it was the Firehouse.
Oh,
and,
that's awesome.
Yeah, I was so excited.